What is the?
Have you seen the Here wallet though? That one. This is totally unrelated, but
Which one?
Here wallet. I
No.
posted a link to it. It's mainly for Near, which is why I'm a stand for it. But it just looks nice.
Well, I like this UI.
Yeah.
Welcome to Gaming Nodes, a weekly podcast from independent validator teams. And this week, I've forgotten to get myself a cup of tea, and I have a mug on my desk, which is currently being used as a paintbrush wash, and for various reasons. And I nearly picked it up and drank from it, so that would have been a short podcast for me.
On a tangentially related note, I have tried Horlicks Horlicks, I think it's called. It's like a
malt drink.
Yeah, I tried it for the first time last week, and I really enjoy it. I'm a huge fan of barley, just kind of in general. My buddy, he brought me barley tea home from China one time, and I just loved it ever since.
Isn't it?
Yeah, everyone that I've had to try it afterward, man, they're like, it's like drinking mud. It's the best. I'm like, yeah, it is the best. I don't know why.
It's absolutely great. Like do you ever tried like pu'er tea, where it's like roasted green tea? I think it's like roasted, or it might still be fermented because it's blackish in kind of color, but it's green tea with, I want to say, mandarin peel in the mix when it's fermented or roasted, whichever one it is. It's like a breakfast tea in some parts of China. It's absolutely amazing. And if you try and get it anywhere else, you just like, you're like, oh, pu'er tea, fucking hell, you have that, okay? And then you try it, and you're like, oh, there must be something about it that doesn't travel well or whatever. So yeah, maybe if you went to like a Chinese supermarket, you could get lucky. But yeah, barley tea is the absolute shit. Confirm. Ovaltine and Horlicks. Pro tip: if you make a milkshake, add a scoop of it. As long as it's like, as long as it's like of the malt drink mix. As long as it's like a compatible flavor, like chocolate, this works well with, and that extra malt.
The extra malt's the important bit. I had it with oat milk, and oat milk, I don't know, it hit it really well.
Frozen. That's good. We need a topic change anyway.
We did.
Too much tea talk.
Oh, I thought that was my internet.
Nope.
Fucking up.
Things are absolutely fine in Australia. It's just center of Europe. It's fucked.
My camera looks fucked for some reason. Do I look like all speckly?
No.
You look very high resolution.
Yeah. Is this your little iPhone camera thing again?
Yeah, it's duct taped to my monitor.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah, I mean, that's better than whatever you normally do. Yeah,
it's hitting. It's got really good sharpness in that dew.
He's a sharp boy. Yeah. So I mean,
So what blew up?
I've been pushed to get onto the fucking podcast this morning. I was like, trying to deal with a few things. Have to pinch a shit. Have to go back and finish that later.
Just cut it off in the middle. What blew up?
It's like I needed an axe to cut it off though. It's just fucking going. I don't know, just the server just decided to not work. But actually it recovered itself, so I didn't have to fix that.
Oh.
By the time I got to it, it had already recovered itself. So I was like, oh. Tick.
That's good. The best type of issue to have.
Yeah. And so now I'm just
mark it off on your to-do list as completed. Do you get that extra little bump of adrenaline for
fixed?
Yeah, I use paper though, so it's like on my little paper notebook. I just ticked it, done. Like I wrote it on there, and then ticked it immediately, just so I could have something done on the list today.
Scratch it out.
Perfect.
Yeah. Do you ever have you haven't felt like you've had a productive day, so you sort of just write things down on a piece of paper and then put a line through them in case anyone ever looks?
Yeah.
Being ADHD, that's like how my life rolls. That's all my life does. It's all about.
There's nobody looking at that list though. Just
Wow, I'm like,
just me
you
and
know,
myself with my own thoughts of
I
non-productivity
mean,
and
I, I mean, what if the missus comes snooping at the desk and she's like,
uh,
what's
what'd you
been
do
going
today?
on today? You stay at home all day, and I came home and the dishes weren't done. So,
I had the server
you
blow
know,
up and I fixed it.
prove to me that you've done something. I'm like, I've
Check
got
out my
this list, man, and it's
I
got
got
crosses on it. I've been ultra productive. Meanwhile, you know, really leveling up in Diablo.
All right.
Excuse me, I'm
Freya's
gonna
back.
grab my coffee.
So we moved on from Tea Talk.
Good, Darren. That's probably for the best. Now tethered to my phone because
Are you?
yeah, got rugged by my internet service provider. Apparently,
It was yeah,
Um,
it was
there's
sudden.
been a whole bunch of problems in our area today. There's like a major outage, so I think it might just be a continuation of that bullshit.
Another
But you know,
strike.
there's a whole fucking there's a whole bunch of fucking stuff. Like we got my business phone got reprovisioned with an eSIM. As you know, you were there in Barcelona, and now I've gone and got like everything reissued and got a physical SIM for the company phone and blah blah blah. The eSIM just keeps causing the physical real SIM. Oh, it just there. Zoom into Dell. That was fucking
It's fucking
brilliant.
hilarious.
It just disconnects all the time randomly. It just goes, this other SIM you've got in there can't be as important as this eSIM. I'm just going to deactivate that for you. And it's the one with the unlimited data that I'm always using to tether. It does it quietly, and my personal contract is like some bullshit data allowance. And so I was just like working on my laptop, and you know, as you know, like there's a bunch of stuff going on at the moment, means there's quite a lot of server shuffling and whatnot, and some git shenanigans going on. And yeah, just burned through my personal data allowance on my contract in like a day. And I was like, hang on a minute, why am I getting a data warning? And it's like sim one is disconnected. I was like, fuck's sake.
Huh.
Yeah, it was just like eSIM is being used as the default. And I'm like, well, we need to get that fucking sorted out. But anyway, so if I disappear again, it's because the eSIM has rugged me. There's a lot of interest in rugging me today, apparently. But the other thing that happened actually when I got home was that nobody was able to get hold of me for a couple of days on the company phone, and our finance guys were trying to tell me that there was maybe sort of a bank run in progress in the UK. This was actually the title of last week's podcast, but I'm not even sure we mentioned it. And so I called them back when I finally got home from all the shenanigans and then getting stuck and the train strikes and then, you know, got to the nearest station to me, got a taxi home, finally got home. I was like, oh, fucking Chad, what a busy week of Yorping and shilling, mainly Yorping,
Mostly
a little bit of shilling. Yeah. And then was like, oh shit, right. I've got my backup phone and it got the thing, called them up, got the eSIM. And then I was like, you have 3 missed calls, called these guys back. And they're just like, yeah, there's kind of a bank run in progress. We've noticed that you mainly use this bank that's affected. You need to go deal with this. And this was like 4:30, let's say 4:30, 4:35 in the afternoon. And so I had to then, before the end of the working day, get to a bank in the nearest city, the closest place that was still a bricks and mortar bank. And then I got there, I think about 5 minutes before they closed. And I had to run across town, and I arrived there completely covered in sweat, like head to toe. And they're just like, hello, well, we're closing in 5 minutes, but what can we do for you? And I'm like, I would like to make a withdrawal.
So when you say bank run, it was a literal bank run, meaning
It was
like,
I had to run.
There was a concern that the bank was going to be liquidated, right?
It was one of those situations where they were like, look, there probably won't be an issue, but in the event that there is, and you rely on the money in this bank for your short-term liquidity of your business, make sure you have enough to cover, let's say, 3 months in another bank account, because I think that's how long it takes. You know, there's a deposit guarantee scheme here, just like there is for you guys. It's not as generous as yours, actually. not nearly as generous. But I think there's a period you have to wait till you're going to get your funds, right?
Yeah,
As a
'cause
business, and
yeah,
and
it's
you're at the
not-
back
it's
of the
not very
queue if
fast.
you're a business as well, because they care more about consumers than businesses.
What's the deposit guarantee in the States?
250,000
Yeah, it's big
per
Yeah, that's
account.
what ours is as well.
per account.
Per account.
Per
It-
account. Yeah, it's the same.
Well, it's per account type, not necessarily per account.
But you're Kanga bucks, aren't you now?
What do you mean by per account?
250
Oh yeah,
250K Kanga bucks.
250,000 Australian dollar dues. But that's I think that's per bank though. I don't think that's like per account. So
No, it's
Yeah.
well, it's for us. It's per. Usually, you have a single checking account, but you can have multiple checking accounts at one bank. Each one of those accounts is covered up to 250,000.
No, I don't think that's
Yeah.
true. I've talked to a couple people about it specifically, and they said that like if you like your checking accounts all count as one checking account, right? And then but if you have like a separate like mutual money market account, then that'll count to a separate 250,000. But like all checking accounts are considered the same checking account with regards to the $250,000 limit. Ditto for the savings
per
accounts.
what? Per bank?
Per bank, yeah.
No, I think I've had two. Actually, I don't even know if I've had two at the same location. But and money markets would not be covered under this. This is purely checking, right? That would be.
Oh,
that would
that's
be- that would
true.
be
Money
separate.
markets
Yeah.
are some
And so is
different.
savings accounts would be. That's also covered separately.
Wait, is it? I don't.
Yeah.
Hold on. Now I need to look
In
it
the
up.
UK, it's only
Yeah.
about $100,000 by comparison. So,
Really?
so yeah. Anyway, the long and
Maybe.
short of it is that's not material really. The money would be covered. It's more that we would go bankrupt.
It just takes time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, AWS don't accept their bill in. I'm sorry, but our bank folded and we don't have any money to pay you right now. But
Yeah.
in 3 months, we will have your money. Don't worry about it. So that's how I ended up covered in sweat at the bank teller.
Yeah.
5 minutes or whatever before they closed, and they're like, yes. And what's the reason for this transfer? And I was like, no reason. Routine de-risking. Our finance guys, they gave me a call and said, why haven't you done this? And you don't want to piss those guys off. And they're just like looking at me covered in sweat, and they're thinking, there's a news headline about our bank not doing so well. This guy is the worst. But it was just like the most British thing in the world. Like I can't say to them,
Where it is.
I think, yeah, I can't say to them, I think there's a 3% chance
The
that your
Australian.
bank goes
What would
under.
be the Australian response to that question?
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to help myself. I would have been like, there was a very nice gentleman on the internet who's accidentally overpaid me by $200,000 on my internet banking, and I'm just trying to repay them over fucking what's that? Western Union.
This Nigerian prince messaged me about Steam credit cards, and I just
Out.
it seemed like such a good deal.
Well, so right, at least you're just shitting around. Like, whereas I just in my head, I'm like, there is a small chance your bank is going to go under tomorrow morning when the market opens. But
And
I'm
did
not
it?
going to say that. No, it didn't. As it turned out, of course it didn't, because it was like a 1% chance, a 3% chance. But if somebody tells you, look, you can get off the sofa right now, get on your bike, get on a train, then run a mile.
Get on your bike, get on a train, get on a bus.
It was convoluted. It was convoluted because of time. Anyway, whatever. It's not important. Like, it was one of those when you look at Google to get the quickest way there, and it's like all of these ways are really slow for some mad reason, and I know how to get there the quickest way. Okay, fine. We're just going to do my way, and it was. Anyway, if somebody tells you got 1 to 3% chance of your business folding, unless you really get off your ass off the sofa, leg it over, put yourself at massive inconvenience, and have a socially embarrassing interaction at the end, what do you do? Because apparently, I fucking literally physically run. I become a part of the problem. I joined the bank run.
It'd have to be 15% for me.
15%. That's your number.
Did you
To run 25. To walk casually 15. If I could do it like tomorrow, I could drive up.
If
and
I had
relax,
done
then, like,
anything less than a
5%.
full-on sprint, I would not have made the bank.
25,
before closing time.
33% maybe.
Mate, it was like the Bittersweet Symphony video. I was like Richard Ashcroft fucking elbowing people out of the way in the street.
Yeah,
That is what
no.
happens in that video, right?
Can you make a recreation video of like just
It was just hugely
sprinting
embarrassing.
down the fucking main street of London in your
Bowling.
pajamas?
Also,
Bowling
to be fucking clear, this was
Kids.
bear in mind like 5:30, right? It's just before they close, so it's at the time when everybody gets off work. So everybody's coming out of offices. They're all heading towards the ways to get out of the city. I am heading the other. I'm literally fucking I'm sprinting and punching and sprinting and punching. I'm like Russell Crowe fighting around the world. And then I get there covered in sweat. They're like, "Is there a reason for this?" And I'm like, "No reason, no reason,
fine."
absolutely no reason." Like,
So, okay.
absolutely no reason.
Did you take every penny out? Were they like, all right, so I'd like to wire transfer $1,000, and you're like, no, $1,000 and 27 cents. I want that 27 cents.
It was social embarrassment central. It was like, yes, the number we've been that I've been told to transfer is this. It was like some very arbitrary number. That, like, again, it's just saving face because I didn't want to say I think there is a chance your bank's going under. So it was just like a calculated guess of like how much do we need for the next 3 months, guaranteed, just in a different bank account. Yeah, and then the rest, it was just like, oh, it would be really bad if we never got that back. But apparently that kind of whatever it was, I think £15,000 was the cost of social embarrassment. So if we never got that back, then we know that 25% to get usurper to run anywhere. We know that 33%. Sorry, my it costs more than £15,000 to get me to drop the veneer of social decorum. That is what we've learned, which is funny because most times in my life, there's absolutely no way I'd be in a position where that would be the case. But right now, apparently, running a business, that's where we've got to. The other notable thing, right, is obviously we have a bunch of our stuff, ledgers and whatnot, in a bank vault. Obviously, with the same bank we mainly bank with.
Wait, hold on. Let's pause this for a sec. So in the UK, are those bank vaults actually protected? In the US, they're considered like if you put them in there, that's great. But if someone takes them out, they're like, that sucks. It's not like we have insurance on it or anything.
Don't even know what's in there, bud.
They have to get in there, I guess. So it's like it's inside a vault. First of all, with a big swingy Ocean's 11 door. And then inside there's like a box and it has 2 keys and you have 1 key and the bank manager has another key and you have to know the bank manager to access it. So you come in and say, is the manager in? And let me tell you, this is a faff when there is a bull market and you want to cash out more regularly because you have to go in every week, do this same 15-minute shuffle where you talk to them. What are you doing? Oh, we're just picking up some accounting books or something, just whatever bullshit that week. No. But anyway, and then you go to like a safe room with your thing, and then you get out a ledger and you tether to your phone because there's no internet. You're in a safe room, so you just like wave your phone around until you get a little bar of signal, and you're like, right, prop it up on whatever that shelf is, and then you get your laptop out of your rucksack. And you do the dance, right? And you should do whatever shuffling or whatever you need to. But anyway, the point is that like I realized as I was coming back from the bank, having participated successfully in a bank run, like I gather a number of people and businesses did in the UK on that day, on that afternoon, although not enough to destabilize the bank. So everything was fine in the end. That it didn't even cross my mind for 1 second that obviously when a bank becomes insolvent, one of the problems is actually it takes a long time to be able to access the deposit boxes and whatnot in the safe in the vault. Sorry, and that can be a real problem for people that need that stuff more, in a time sensitive way. And it didn't even occur to me for a second to collect any of the Cosmos ledgers that were in the bank. Not for a fucking second.
A forced shitcoin collection period.
I'm sure the bank manager is hugely impressed with your huge process here to transfer out $48 in fucking Juno commissions.
Yeah, just like imagine so much effort, right?
I'm sure they're all like, ooh. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so I can't. This is like the name of last week's episode. I can't even believe. So anyways, that was quite exciting. I participated in a bank run, which was wild. And as I was coming back from there, not only was I like, oh, it's funny, I didn't even think of the ledgers. The second thing I thought was, if only that money had been stored on some kind of permissionless, decentralized system, so there's no way that the bank folding could possibly cause us any trouble. And and I instantly leveled up into CryptoCito. Whoever's the like bigger shill than we are. It was like a Pokemon evolving. I evolved into CryptoCito and became 20% more of a shill.
So I just have to say that like the UK banking system is pretty shit then, because in that same scenario, I would not have to have had left my couch, and I could have instantly transferred that money to another bank.
I mean, it's worth saying that the only reason I had to physically go in was because A, it's a large transfer, and so
Like how, like up to a half like my bank, I can transfer $1 million over
Really?
internet banking. Yeah.
Normally in most banks here is either £5,000 or £10,000. They'll be like, not sure about
How
that.
does anyone do business there?
Well, if you can arrange it in advance, where you say we have to regularly do this, and then you do some additional authorization, and then you can do it. So, we, as you know, had a hilariously large AWS bill once, but our AWS bill at that point, especially for some of the Aptos stuff, was already pretty large. So, we obviously have multiple bank accounts as well. One of them is with an online challenger bank. And we've already pre-arranged with them that, yeah, we're going to pay invoices that are over a certain amount, and it just goes through. Our primary bank, however, is a bricks and mortar bank, and for OPSEC reasons, I don't have any online banking. I don't have any access to online banking. Don't have it on my phone. You have to go into the bank and talk to a person who has to check your ID to do anything.
So we have a thing over here called BPay, and it's just it's short for bill pay. And I think you can pay like 25 or 50 grand or something in a single bill. But then like just on the internet banking, we've got a process over here called OSCO. And that's like the back end that all the banks built themselves. They're like fucking the old bullshit's a little bit slow, and everyone's getting a little bit pissed about waiting a day for their funds to show up. It used to be a couple of days, and then they got it down to like a day. Like it had to be an overnight like bank journaling thing. And everyone's like, why? Like you have a database, they have a database, can't you just send it? And so yeah, I think they just like collaborated for a few months. Then like, oh, well, it's not so hard. And then they came up with this OSCO thing, which is like the settlement back end. Probably
Yeah,
who the fuck knows?
That's the same as here. That's the same as
And
here.
then, but so we, yeah,
payments will clear in like 1 to 3 seconds, maybe, even for a very large sum of money.
So then, yeah, and then the next thing was like, well, for business accounts, obviously you can't get by on these like $5,000 or $10,000 limits. So on my personal account, I think I can just go into my app and temporarily increase it to like 50 grand or something like that if I needed to. But on the business account, like I can just increase it all the way up to like $1 million for single transfers, or daily limit is like $1 million.
That's kind of horrifying.
Why? We don't like people aren't walking around here pulling out fucking toenails.
Well, yeah, but like you just don't really want access to shuffle around that kind of money if you don't need it.
Like we don't have. So I mean, it's
somebody.
What if you need
one at that number?
Like here to do a for example, to do a like term deposit, right? To get interest. A lot of times that's like a new banking. Well, all the time it's a new bank account, right? And then so you have to make a deposit to that new bank account of the amount that is the term deposit. And so the first time I did one of those,
is that like a fixed term savings account?
Yeah, fixed term,
like you do for a kid, where you say like you're going to get this in 10 years time when you're whatever, a teenager.
Well, it's more short term than that. So say they have different interest rates for different terms, right? So say on a 3 months term, they might give you like, I don't know, 3% interest rate, and then like on a 6 months term, they might give you 5% interest rate or something like that, right? And so usually it's like risk based over time, depending on what's going on with the economy and whatever. But you usually get like more of a return over a longer period of time, unless it's like into the tens of years, and then usually it actually comes back down again because they don't know what's going to happen down there. So anyway, to like finalize the account, you need to put the money in there. And so I had to do this once by getting a cashier's check from the bank the first time I did it, because I didn't have the facilities set up where I could send a decent amount of money. It was like $10,000 or something limit. And I'll tell you, that was a huge pain in the ass. Firstly, I had to go to the bank, which I don't like doing because there's people there. And so
I don't want them looking at me.
Also, I'm guessing
also-
nearest bank is about 400 miles away, and kangaroos only move
It's an
at like
8-hour drive.
yeah, as I say, it's like a 24-hour kangaroo hike, with your convoy of camels and kangaroos, and once you get to the other side, you're awfully thirsty. You stop for a beer. You forget why you even went to town. You get in a fight with some alcoholic doctor.
A couple games of 2-Up.
A couple of games of 2-Up, and before you know it, you're stuck
Next
in the
thing you know-
Yabba again.
Next thing you know, it's Tuesday. The bank's closed.
So one of the problems I came across when I got to the bank is that no one knew what the fuck was going on at the bank. They're like, what? Term
Was there a
deposit?
bank
Like,
run going on?
no, just fucking no one knows. The branches are just full of dumb people now. They're like, you can do that on the internet. Like, why are you here? They got a room with like a couple of people. They don't have cash at the bank anymore. You're not getting any money.
And yet they keep
And then,
building
like-
more and more fucking banks here. You're exactly right.
But there's
Can't
there
do
these
shit.
branches, and they got no one there. And then I was like, I want to talk to your business bankers, and they're like, yeah, we don't have those here. I'm like, what do you have?
They're selling
I'm like,
mortgages.
oh.
That's what they're doing.
You have to make an appointment to see someone. And I'm like,
I drove
I
in
see
9 hours.
like I see a couple of desks with people at them with no one else standing by them. Like, surely I can talk to one of them. They're like, oh, they're helping people on the internet. I'm like, fucking hell.
That sounds
And
like
so
me
I had
trying
to-
that sounds like me trying to get hold of a GitLab account at New University, where it's like, oh yeah, no, there's a bunch of GitLab servers in the comp sci lab in the server farm on the roof, and you're like, ah, cool. Who can give you access? It's like, oh yeah, it's the IT guys. And then you go to their
Got
room, and it's literally like the IT crowd. There's like 4 guys with their feet on the desk, and you're like, hey, who can I give my public key to get access to the GitLab server cluster? And it's like, ooh, that used to be Jeff, I think, but Jeff left, so I think it's Brian now, but he's got COVID, so you should probably just fill in the form, and then when he's back, he'll probably look at the form.
Brian with a
like,
Y.
oh, sorry, we actually use 4-digit PIN numbers here.
You're a bit like
Right.
I have an enterprise GitHub account. I could just install GitLab on a server. I could do it. Why am I doing this again? Not for the first time in this 5-year period. Why am I doing this again? Has come up as a question.
So anyway, the process ended up being that they had to survey the people who were in the building to see if any of them knew how to do what I needed to do. And then I had to make an appointment several hours into the future and then return to the bank at a later date. And then they had this fucking machine that had to like print this check and have it signed by different people. And then they offered me security to walk to the other end of the fucking street to like give the cashier's check to another person
What other person?
at another bank for the
Oh, for the transfer.
for the transfer. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, this is as good as cash. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's cashier's check.
And they're like, do you want us to send someone with you to the bank down the road to make the deposit? I was like,
No, I'm
Like
a
I-
fucking unit. Look at me.
Like I'm bigger than all you.
I'm 24% body fat. so I was like,
I think they
I
were
don't think
threatening
so,
you.
like-
Now. I think you didn't. I think what just blew over your head there was that they were saying, you need somebody to go with you, or one of us is going to give you a wedgie, nerd, and take your cashier's
wedgie in the
check.
public bathroom. But I was
Exactly.
like, I don't think there's like people standing around here that are just gonna like. Am I gonna look different when I leave here with a cashier's check?
In your
Like if
pocket.
I just fold this and put
Well,
it in
yeah,
my
it's
top
because
pocket,
it's
and
because
then
they
just
look at you
casually,
and you're like swinging your arms and you've got like obviously like a tuxedo on
gingerly
and,
swinging your
and
arms down
yeah,
the street.
and you got this and you got that pimp cane as well. I mean, there's a lot of clues that you're carrying $10,000 in your pocket. You know what I mean?
Like I all of a sudden walk out with a crown on my head, like
Yeah,
just gingerly
exactly.
swinging my arms.
That's the
I'm
one.
off to the
With the check
bank.
in it.
I'm
Showing
off
the
to
check.
the bank. There's so one of the
Um,
other things I've noticed at the bank is one of the main reasons people still go into the bank who are going to the business desk are like companies that do a lot of business in cash, like cash and carry wholesaler, I guess, like mechanics, stuff like that. And there was one of the other people when I was doing the bank run, one of the other people who was sort of next to me who was talking to another person was just, to your point, was fucking coolly just dropping off £8,000 in cash. I've never seen that much physical money. I was like, how's that guy not got, you know? But I guess he must have looked like you though. That's why they were worried that you would get mugged, because he had a tuxedo on and had a pimp's cane and he'd been swinging his arms as he came in. So I was just like, that guy's carrying money.
That guy's got the fucking wad.
So when I was at uni, I used to have like a safe in my room that I kept my nice lighters and cash, right? So I don't know why I just liked to have cash because I went to the pub a lot, and at that time in history, you'd use cash at the pub, and
What, the
So-
1940s?
no, just like in the 2010s, or the late thousands, but
Or like
So-
the late 80s?
so you'd go to you'd do like it's like so vacation work. I don't know if it's the same over there, but when you get off on your holidays, you go and work at places, right? And some of these places that I worked were like overseas, and then you'd bring your money back in your suitcase because of the government.
Wait.
And then-
Some of these places I worked, they were overseas, and then you have to bring your money back in a suitcase. Were you working as a mercenary for the Wagner Group?
No, it's just I can't remember exactly what the tax situation was, but it seemed easier to just bring it back as cash rather than pay tax or something like that. So anyway, so I'd end up I'll be like, well, if I put this in the bank now, they're gonna know about it. So I'll leave that in my safe. And then just
You were very well prepared for the validator life.
You are right. Exactly.
and then I'll distribute that to the pub over the course of the year discreetly every Thursday.
So you're money laundering via the medium of drinking and asking for change.
Yes.
No,
Sorry,
there
what was
was
that?
no change.
Great.
There wasn't
No, there's-
change when you go to the pub. Amazing.
There was no yeah, I was you come home when you run out of money. So
Yeah,
that's the process. You go there at midday, and at the point at which you no longer have any money, you come home.
I worked for like the year before I went to university, and then you could get debit cards at this point, and that was, I think, the principal problem I had in my first year. I was working as well while I was at university, and at least for the first while, and you just keep putting in your card, and drinks keep coming. And it was like that first semester, you just like, you start doing the maths and you're like, how much have I spent on booze? And you're like, oh shit. So you're not far off. You should probably pay in cash when you go out drinking, because that shit gets out of control so fast.
I would not like to add up how much I have spent on
Oh yeah, don't do that.
the devil's nectar
Don't even think about
over
it.
the years. Yeah. I
cheaper
presume
than
it would
smoking,
be
though.
like considerable amount. Hey?
Cheaper than smoking.
Yeah, did I tell you how much cigarettes cost here now? It's like for a pack of like 30 cigarettes, it's like $50 Australian.
Holy
So it's like-
shit! What?
yeah, it's like $35 US or something like that.
Holy shit!
Expensive way to kill yourself. How much are bullets over there?
Cheaper.
Far cheaper. You can get like a pretty decent caliber bullet for $2.
They're rated by caliber. The more expensive, the higher the caliber.
Well, you know, the higher the caliber and grain count, yeah, the more output.
They
In
keep in,
terms
they
of
keep in a
caching
bolt
and
at a
all.
register and shit. You just put your hand in.
So, at the risk
Grab
of
where you
breaking up
go.
the party, I'm very well aware we have actually like a bunch of news and stuff to get through. And
Yeah, let's talk
most
about it.
importantly, we got the drill tweet of the week.
Drop tweet of the
Shorty
week.
did last week. So Usurper, I think that means it's you.
I think it's Nell's turn actually.
Is it now?
Yeah.
We can go clockwise.
No, I went the week before. He always picks a good one anyway.
All right.
He's got that.
Okay.
He's got that
Nope.
sixth sense for.
Say when.
Yeah, go towards the back.
When?
The book is empty. Right.
Like
let's
just
try
go
it again.
back a page. Go back a page.
Let's go back page.
Yeah. Bottom
we're-
bottom on the left-hand side. Bottom on the left-hand side. Last one. It's probably
We're
a
in the
compound thing.
section marked wisdom. Unlike normal humans, geniuses do not like bullshit.
Nice.
Worth saying as well, it was very specifically bull shit. Not bullshit, it was bullshit. Leaving one to wonder whether they meant the colloquialism bullshit or whether they meant physically. the
Well,
shit
it sound,
of
if
the
it, if it was 2 words, it's the actual shit. So
Yeah.
are they insinuating that normies are quite fond of bull turds?
of the feces of a bull, perhaps. Perhaps there's a lot to unpack there. A lot of bullshit to
to-
unpack there, arguably. Bullshit, one word, though, in that particular instance.
Look, Funky's just come in and he's already hanging shit on my cam. Thanks, Funky.
Different but better.
Yeah, I mean, this looks very actually. It looks like very good quality at the moment. I think.
You missed the bit where you walked away and it just tracked your ass
It,
walking across the room.
it
great.
just tracked your ass hitting the
a
refrigerator.
It's
dumpy.
just like, he's
Yep.
in the fridge for a beer, baby.
I'm actually well. Sorry, Funky. I mean, you were hanging shit on my other cam, and now that I've got my iPhone taped to the screen on my monitor,
It does look
all
pretty
of a
good.
sudden
got a nice-
everything's good.
It's got a nice bokeh going on.
Yeah, the tone's nice too. It's like the
Yeah.
the other
Yeah,
one's like a
you don't
little
look as
bit
pasty.
aggressive. Yeah, I noticed like my eyeballs look washed out on the other one. Not because of lack
try
of
not-
sleep or anything.
It's a very odd complaint to
I
have.
try not to look at your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and have a look, you see like my face is a normal color, and then my around my eye sockets are just like this washed out white. I look like the fucking guy off Star Wars, the main guy. That's not Darth Vader with the
Palpatine.
cape. Palpatine, yeah, the guy with the cape.
That reminds
All
me.
the Jedi.
Sorry,
Yoda.
the
I mean
Emperor.
Yoda.
The Emperor.
There's a-
No, I don't look like Yoda. Yeah,
There's a bit in a British comedy where somebody's trying to convince somebody else to do something, and he says, "Oh, it's gonna be great. It's like that fucking film you love, where there's that guy, and he's got a fucking carpet for a pal, and then there's like a wheelie bin or some shit. The one where the guy fucked his sister." He's like, "Are you trying to describe Star Wars, Malcolm?" He's like, whatever. I don't like wizards.
Like,
But
Is that
yeah,
from,
anyway.
from Snatch?
No,
What was
it's
from?
from
No.
the political comedy In the Thick of It. He's trying to convince somebody to end the political career of somebody by leaking something.
Ah, okay.
It's
Oh, sorry. I just had a thought before we get like
in the news.
too far into
the
mirrors-
podcast. It's 40
into the
minutes.
mirrors.
Yeah.
Did anyone watch Bad Boy Bubby?
No, I started it and I fell asleep, but it's on my
Oh,
list.
How could you fall asleep? It's like
Oh God, it was the yellow
cadence
like
of that
puts me to
show
sleep.
is.
I didn't watch it, but I did watch Ran, which is very good.
What?
Akira Kurosawa. I recommend it.
What is it?
Ran.
RAN?
Yeah.
No. Is it
Very,
about
very
running to the bank?
No, as luck would have it. I did think, you know what? I think I said this on the group chat after I ran back, after I ran back on the other direction to get out of town, because I was like, I didn't want to miss my train. I think I meant I caught what's the line from the Beatles, like, made the bus in seconds flat. It was basically that.
Funky has said that Bad Boy Bubby's a great movie. Just pointing that out.
There you go. But I think I said on the group chat after participating in the bank run, like, that's the closest I'll get to Margin Call, which is a good movie. It's a really
Great
good
movie. I love that movie.
I think I feel like, because I feel like we were talking about that at some point. I think this might have
Mm-hmm.
been why. I think it might have been my bank run participation that inspired that one. But yeah, no, I would recommend seeing Ran. It's a great film. I've seen a bunch of Kurosawa. I hadn't seen it before, but the visual design is amazing. It's like really interesting to look at a film where so much of the film is done with one dominant color in shot, like really deliberately. So no matter how complex it gets, and there's a lot of extras, at some points there's hundreds and hundreds of people on screen, you can follow very clearly the action of what's happening. And in fact, you could probably follow most of what happens in it without even seeing the words. It's in Japanese, obviously, because the colors and the movement, like the dynamics of how the people move, they're kind of
Oh, he's done again.
It's like a third world country over there. What the hell's going on?
You'd think
What
they
the
would
hell's
have
going
figured
on,
out
man?
the internet by now.
Fucking gotta run to your banks. You can't get a fucking cell phone signal. It's unbelievable. There he is. He's
Hey.
back. Hey.
Incredibly
man?
pixelated. Man, I
Yeah.
had better internet out in the middle of the bush.
Seriously. How my
Yeah.
servers?
yeah, I know. It's been a tough week. What can I tell you?
It has been.
Um,
How do you
so
live in that squalor over there? I don't understand.
do you know what? It's really humbling to go from fucking 1 gigabit per second or whatever to whatever this is.
Whatever that is. Just not
It is
much.
seriously
trash.
disappointing.
Is what
Yeah.
it is.
It's trash.
Not very well. I mean, yeah, not very fast is what it is. 14 megabits per second. I'm a pleb.
Nice.
That's like rural pleb speed.
All right, let's do some news. Let's get this podcast
Yeah.
going.
Let's do it. No,
Fucking FDIC rules and running down the street and
I
your
haven't even
damn
opened up
40
the
minutes
fucking-
on your camera.
open up the spreadsheet. I can't find it.
This seems like a pretty saucy week for news from what I'm seeing. I can't wait. You know, we should just get Rarma in on to talk about these because this is good
Like-
enough that I think I need like a first-hand accounting.
There were complaints last night from the Fray. I was reading the groupie where there were complaints about the lack of news.
Well, I think it was empty at that point.
Was it?
Which
yeah, I was
result.
just. Oh yeah, it was last night. Yeah, last night your time.
So
think it was more
Rama
about-
was saving the sauce for the last minute.
It was more of an
Well,
observation.
apparently
I think.
so.
Like,
I was just Look, all I'm saying is I was worried that I was going to have to backfill news, and I was like, I don't really know that much has happened this week, other than the Binance thing, which I did put in the form, which was I thought kind of interesting.
oh yeah, we were going to talk about our amazing Cosmoverse sponsorship as well.
Oh yeah, do you want to talk about that first, or
No, let's let Nell run his good news.
let's do it?
I thought you were going to say let's let Nella run his mouth for a bit longer.
And mouth.
Has anyone else actually read this yet?
Yeah, I looked through. 'em.
Maybe you would be more suited to
In
kick
the
us
links
off.
in the links section, I've even added a couple of snarky comments.
Did you?
Yeah, the
What is-
links column
oh.
is
Oh, yeah.
actually phrased snarky comments after reading the pieces.
Oh, so this is your
That's the that's
contribution
that's
to
the snarky
the
GPT
news.
breakdown. How do I make this even more cynical?
I mean, has
Great
anybody,
GPT.
Snark GPT. It's a great fucking idea. Let me
That's a good
tell
idea.
you, Snark GPT. Have you
We
been
should
on
do that.
eBay recently? eBay uses Chat GPT now to recommend you a description for your item, and now every item description is just garbage level AI descriptions. It'll be like, this is the greatest, blah 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 blah, and and they all look and sound the same tone of moron trying to sell you something, and you just go like, fuck, I much preferred it when every seller listed A+++ fucking lack. You know, do you remember that when they capital L at K, and they were like lack new
What does that
whatever.
mean?
Yeah, what's that supposed to mean?
It was like eBay speak for look.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
With the at symbols.
Like proper, we're talking proper old school eBay, like 2005, 2006. Somebody would be like, "Oh my god, I'm
Right, 'cause they
selling
would
something
ban
that's
that.
brand new for like £40 off, and it's definitely not stolen." Lack.
Yeah.
I always pronounce it in my head as lack
I
with
never
the
did,
little
but-
with the little jazz hands.
I got the gist of that.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyway.
I'll do the
Go, sir.
I'll do
Kick
one.
us off.
This is I'll do one. This is in Romer snarky tone, but Jack Zamplin is proud dad after seeing his son CryptoCito following in his footsteps again by being appointed as an advisor for Composable Finance. Many questions in which way CryptoCito will provide advice given his history as a YouTuber with no business experience. But we have high hopes for Composable now that they have the A team on board. There's like 5 layers of snark in that one.
I feel
But
like
yeah.
it's not entirely fair though. Like, presumably running that conference is some kind of business, right? He does have
Also,
a
to be fair, you're actually being rude to me because, as we described earlier, I actually evolved into CryptoCito. It's my Pokemon evolution tree. I am CryptoCito, and I will next become Charizard.
Are you saying I can trap you in a ball and put you in my cupboard?
In my cupboard.
He's frozen.
No, it's just 8 megabit, 1 megabit. Yeah, so I mean, this is I don't know, whatever. There's a long history of celebrity people getting associated to projects when they have no knowledge or understanding of the products that they're being associated to. So I think this is just entering into the crypto space now. Makes sense.
It seems. No, I'm good.
Please, Schultzy, I think you had something to add.
Known for Composable says known for an in-depth research and insights in the Cosmos ecosystem. He's a content creator and a thought leader that shares his findings on Twitter and YouTube. Okay, yeah. I mean, it's a bit chilling, but okay, whatever. I mean, this is gonna change the whole Composable viewpoint. I think, right? I love one of the comments in here. Do you realize that if you fail to propagate the bright image of Composable, the consequences for your own reputation might be devastating? The legacy of Composable being an alleged scammer team is too much to handle. That's from Wagar. Dude, Wagar, nobody gives a shit.
So,
like, nobody gives a shit about either
All
side of this conversation.
CryptoCito, as long as they've handed over the correct amount of
Dude,
money.
nobody gives a shit. So
what-
I think you're good.
what has Composable Finance achieved to date as a network?
I think there've been some shitty upgrades. That's a pretty good achievement.
And so, what?
Maybe
is the benefit
CryptoCito
then-
wrote them because he's a thought leader.
at what? Like, I'm just thinking out loud. Like, at what benefit is there to them to have an advisor?
Schultzy, I've got it right. I've got a question for you, Schultzy. Would you rather have, as a dev for your blockchain, would you rather have CryptoCito or Jacob G?
Ooh, that's an easy one. I'm not going to answer though, but I will answer Noel's question. I think they want Cito one because they want to become a subchain for from Atom, and they wanted like a big buyout for it, right? So if they get Cito on board, then maybe he can try and like bump elbows to steer the conversation in the way they want it to go. That's my guess.
So, in your opinion and words, they're after a cheerleader.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. You want a marketing you want somebody to be able to espouse the benefits of something that's not coming from your own team, right?
Is that
And
yorping or is that shilling?
that is
It's really important that we clarify for the.
I think
viewer.
that's yopping because they're trying to get bought out, which means
Yeah.
they're trying to go up, which means they're yopping.
Right, but they're
That's-
doing it via a platform that's primarily broadcast down, which is shilling.
well, no, I think that's a official. That would be CryptoCO yopping to Adam, right? That's your point, right?
Yeah,
Chelsea?
he's yorping up. You
Yeah,
yorp up,
yopping up.
chill down.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah.
chilling down. The
So he's
shilling is
not. So he's not going to be making a bunch of videos about how great Composable are to his
maybe.
massive fan base.
Well, he might.
And
but-
whilst to you, Dr. Frey, that might seem like a shill, it is
That's right.
actually a yorp to
that's
Adam.
right. That is right. That is exactly right. That's
Yeah.
a what? It's like a secret yop. That's a secret yop.
Yeah, it's like a
The semantic distinction is
Yeah.
really something here. I think I might have to write. I think I might have to do some
Uh-huh.
research and then write a paper on this because
is-
It's a
moment
it's
it's a
one of
little bit
those.
beyond
It's a
my-
Russian doll.
That's
The Russian doll of
It
yorp.
is. That is a yop. That is a yop masquerading as a shill. That's exactly what that is.
No, it's a
I
shill
now have
masquerading
the
as a
sudden
yorp.
urge to
No, it's the other
ensure
way.
that the word
No,
yorp
yeah,
makes
it's a
its
yorp
way into my
masquerading as a
final.
shill.
It's a yop masquerading as a
Paper.
shill. It's fucking genius.
They're playing fucking 3D chess over here.
It's
Yeah.
it's nice that the Cosmos ecosystem is actually going to follow the actual Cosmos, which is that at first it's small and then it expands and then suddenly it contracts because everybody's getting fucking bought, right?
Aren't
So
we
we're
at
gonna go
that
from, we're gonna go
point
from
now?
millions of chains back down to 2. That hey, these are the only ones that have any TBL.
Wow,
So
no,
therefore-
it'll still be millions of chains. They'll just all be using the same fucking security.
they're all ICF, right? Exactly.
Yeah, they're all
All
ICO.
minting empty block after empty block.
It sounds like a good
Adam validators living in cardboard boxes
yeah,
because they're fucking
exactly.
all their money's going to server bills.
Holy shit. That's exactly right. Fucking hell.
So, what kind of epic return will the composable finance investment be making to the Atom holders? Do you think?
So they actually have a proposal for this, and they want to be bought out. I can't remember the exact numbers. I want to say like $400,000 to $600,000. That's how much Atom would have to buy composable for, and then they put out a bunch of math on like how much the bridge would bring in. It would be fees based on bridge utilization, which of course it's not really used right now, right? And so it's all theoretical fees.
Teams
is-
really loving the buyout lately, eh? Seems to be the new.
It's because they want to
new
get the fuck
hotness.
out. They
Mhm.
want to get the fuck
Mhm.
out of this ecosystem.
That's the
Can we
the
cash
exit.
out immediately?
Everybody's that's an exit.
That's an
Yeah.
exit.
Yeah, I think that's an exit that maybe didn't know exist, and then look at then Strike
didn't
comes
know.
in or something else comes in. Oh shit, is this an exit?
Seems like a relatively modest buyout at what was it for $500,000? SG1 could have probably done that in fucking trade losses.
That's just slippage, baby.
That's just a bit of slippage for us, don't you worry, buddy.
I'll do one more, then it's on you. Okay.
Why does it have? Why can't it be on the Dr.
'Cause
Frey?
your name is closest to the word news. That's it. That's the only reason. It's just the fucking N. That's it.
No, it's not. He wanted to. He said, "Listen, if we do news, the only thing I ask is I'm the one that does the news."
I envision the news to be different though. Like I imagined that a set would pop up. There'd be some well endowed lady standing near me that I could banter with. None of that shit happened. I
That's
just
like,
get shade when I do the news.
You don't get shade. It's only you giving yourself shade when you do the news. That's it.
I feel
So-
shady. Does that help?
Yeah.
So, as an aside on that last one, Jack's a proud dad. Why is Jack a proud dad? And
I don't know. I don't know the relationship between those
his
two.
son Cito. Maybe well, anyway.
I think
yeah.
it was a general yop
It's-
comment.
I think it's
Mm.
because Jack got shit on a bunch for over the last couple of weeks because he was an investor in Composable. And so Cito jumping on is kind of just following that path of joining Composable regardless of intent.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Because there
So
was
I'll-
back drama the previous week, wasn't there, with the whole Chango thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was like a back reference. Exactly.
I'll
Which-
bust one out.
The
I'll bust one out.
the what's it called?
Come on, let's move on.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
bust what?
Have you seen the Chango drama thing? Because that was a news point from previous.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
don't know why.
watch-
I don't know why we skipped it because it was like the spiciest thing.
Did you watch the clip?
I
Like the
started it.
takedown?
I started and I lost interest, like everything else.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah,
I watched the whole thing. It was, I mean, a lot of it is basically, look, you have this person that is very, very central to the ecosystem. Maybe that's a problem. That would be my non-spice emotion taken out of it summary. A fair point.
Mm-hmm.
The actual sort of 12 to 15 minute takedown video was a bit gratuitous, but I think that the underlying question,
It was that
It's-
long.
yeah, it was long.
Yeah, I think I lasted like 4 minutes or something.
The underlying point, which is that maybe this ecosystem isn't in any way decentralized if you're so reliant on one person, is a fair question to ask, and it's a necessary question to ask. I think all of the rest of it was basically window dressing and a little bit vendetta-y. There's also like, you kind of throw your argument out the window if you're like, Strangelove are relied upon too much to do blah 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 blah. They're the primary maintainers of IBC. They're relied upon because they're one of the only teams that understand IBC
Yeah.
and can do meaningful work to it.
Honestly, that's not their fault.
And that, you know,
They're-
that is like, okay, fine. If you think that's a problem, find some money,
Yeah,
pay a
start-
bunch of other devs, and
do it
they can
yourself.
also work on IBC.
I think there's plenty of white space, right? Like for capable teams like that. I think there's tons of white space to be able to do that if somebody can actually produce that
Yeah.
team. And they have a pretty long. Don't get me wrong. It's a pretty long lead, right, in terms of projects they've built and the tools that they have and their tie into the ecosystem. Obviously, that's a tough thing to chip away at, but there's still white space. I think you could if you wanted to compete, if you wanted to build Strangelove 2, I think you could do that. Right. And
I think
could
a
be
more
successful at it.
interesting question really is like, why is there not a second Strangelove? And like, number one is like,
there's no money.
There's no money in the ecosystem, right? Obviously.
Is there
But
not?
there's-
Isn't Informal like a second Strangelove?
Yeah.
I mean,
they
yeah,
would be the closest, right? Wouldn't they?
well, so this is actually, I guess, relevant to the follow-up thing, which is that I think like perhaps the way that the SDK itself,
Fucking
What a horrible time to cut out
seriously.
again.
This-
I mean, on my screen, he's just like 7 pixels.
yeah.
yeah. The defined name Dr. Frey is like perfectly, it like juxtaposes it like it's horrible.
Yeah. Maybe when he comes back, he could turn
Like
off
maybe
the
we
video.
can move on to another topic because this one's going on for 20 minutes.
All right. Do you want to take on this next one?
Yeah, I'll do the Reddit one. So Reddit phases out blockchain community points, announcing on Reddit due to regulation uncertainty, they're ending the program immediately. They rug their token Moon 90% to flat 0.
Yeah.
I feel like that's 100%, but you know, I take your meaning.
So I thought that was built by the community. I didn't think that was actually built by Reddit.
Well, presumably it was integrated into the Reddit platform.
That's a good
As
question.
they
Schultz.
are-
I don't know where that actually, if that was community built but either way, I think it was integrated, right? It says it was first launched
Yeah.
in 2020. I can see if that
So-
is who actually built that.
I mean, this isn't at the moment, it's becoming more and more and more evident about how scared teams are of the US regulation.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a clear one. And it seems like people are afraid of retrospectively being, prosecuted for or gone after for things they don't know now. And so, a lot of the new projects that are operating are geo-blocking, the US and other countries.
Yeah.
And yeah, just generally shutting down because of regulation uncertainty. It's kind of stifling. Is that their plan? I don't know. But that's what's happening. And it seems like, well, Reddit's a big company. They don't want to be caught up in that shit. So easiest just to put a lid on it, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like it's just a rewards points thing anyway, right? Not really.
I thought it was like wasn't it? I haven't used Reddit in a while, but I thought it was somehow related to if you were upvoted other types of things, basically it turned into community points, right? And then at some point the idea was that you can monetize those in some sort of way. So the more you contributed, the more you got upvoted or other types of things, you like no different than anything else.
Okay, so I was thinking of Moons. Moons are a community built thing on the cryptocurrency subreddit. The community points thing is actually Reddit built.
Okay.
And it has a lot of weird requirements. Like, okay, so here's kind of the requirements. Redditors who earn at least 10 gold within a 30-day period are eligible for a monthly withdrawal. Reddit users who have over 5,000 karma total upvotes can earn $1 per gold. So I can see why that wouldn't be considered scalable, because some people get like tens of thousands of karma, and so then it would be
it turns into some dollars.
yeah. So
Plus
I can
gas.
Look, maybe
Gas-
this isn't
gas
like
fees will be non-trivial as well to shuffle out. It's basically like as soon as they start, well, speed plus as soon as they start trying to use it for payments, it doesn't work, right?
well, so it uses Arbitrum.
It's sitting on Arbitrum.
It used to use Ethereum.
Right.
So gas wouldn't be quite as big of an issue.
in,
But again,
in my
like-
opinion, as far as closing it down goes, is that if they like close it down responsibly and honor any obligations they have, don't really see it being a big problem.
I don't think anybody in the world cares.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the world cares either. The one thing I'll say is that I can see where there might be merit in having like points on a blockchain, like Sephora points or whatever, but just the tax implications of it, I think, are just too much. The fact that Reddit even tried it out is kind of astonishing to me, because everyone having taxable events just because they got upvoted, like, no, absolutely
Right.
not. No.
So now they'll
Seems
they'll-
almost better to just have a database, right, with points in it, and then give people money.
Well, I think,
yeah.
I think you would just have to instead say like their utility tokens or something. Go back to the Seaside Arcade model where you get tickets when you enter, and you can throw the basketball into that hoop and try and win the bear. And then when you leave, you hand back in the tickets and you get a couple of dollars back, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
they
and-
argue for that maybe.
and even in the article at the end, like basically talk about we're able to scale several products that accomplish what Community Points was trying to accomplish, such as subreddit karma and gifts. So instead of giving away things that actually have monetary value that require some sort of taxable event, I can give away useless fucking gifts and like stupid badges and shit that have no monetary value at all, but have some sort of emotional value, right? Which means you're not really it can't be traded, they can't be sold, can't do whatever. So therefore, they're just you kind of get the same idea without actually having the monetary piece out of it.
Well,
So-
this kind of follows in suit with, so I keep still hearing that blockchain gaming is the future. And then I've heard so many times that blockchain gaming is going to be what brings the bull run back. And
Uh-huh.
I just don't see it. Like, blockchain gaming is points brought up to the nth degree, right? Like,
Yes.
you go and get a green sword, but that green sword happens to be 1 cent. You're supposed to pay taxes on that? No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, as interested as I am in the idea of blockchain gaming, just the risk of that, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that too, because you could even in some of those types of things, we're talking to somebody that like you could just walk around, you're not even earning anything, but you just walk around picking things up, right? And those things actually have monetary value to them. And are you responsible for since they have value? Are you responsible for those only at the point of sale, or at the time that you pick it up, or like all those types of things, right? So they do end up having value. There is a market for them, but again, like you can buy that shit on Steam, but
Yeah.
at that point, that is still you could still buy and sell on Steam, right? So I assume that there is.
Well, it's like the Eve problem, isn't it? We talked about it on a previous podcast where the Eve Online really
Right.
aggressively tried to avoid that situation because they were like, we've genuinely created an economy and we're a little bit concerned that our video game will get shut down if our actual functionally working simulation of an economy starts generating real world value in a way that makes a regulator interested. Which is interesting because their economy is in some ways more successful than almost any of the crypto economies that have been built. But hey, what are you going to do? It's almost like you need to build a thing that your users want to use first, and then an economic case and system will come out of that.
I think we were all fooled by that one baseball movie, Field of Dreams. That catchphrase, if you build it, they will come. Man, an entire generation led astray.
I was going to such a different place. I was like, that one baseball movie, and I was like, Moneyball? What?
I was thinking
What?
Moneyball too.
Do you mean it's better to have one in the head than 3 in the chest to bleed out? I was like, I'm not sure that's relevant here, Schultzy. I think you're thinking of
That's
something
funny.
else.
Well, I don't think there's a non-zero chance you might survive if you get 3 in the chest. I think one in the head is like kind of a death cross.
You
Anyway,
obviously weren't paying too much attention to the moral of that story.
It's not quite that.
All right.
It's like quite the.
Brad
All right,
Pitt
what's next?
explained it. Jonah Hill.
I
whoever
think
it was, explained it.
Schultzy is best suited to take this one.
Ooh, the bold one, the only one I haven't read. Okay, here we go. I read the middle ones, man. My ADHD goes not past that.
Got to read the first and the last ones.
That's
only.
funny.
That's right. If there was only like one row between each one, I could focus better, but there's not, so I can't focus. All right. In an effort to recover some reputation within the community after the merge debacle, the Stride team implemented substantial changes to their chain, introducing invariance checks on the ST Atom and ST Osmo rewards, which caused both assets to halt minting of ST assets due to volatility in rewards, which is to say mass unbondings of the base assets. This caused the Stride chain to require upgrades / forks, as well as on-chain proposals to receive the 2IBC clients between the chains for ST assets. Wow. Okay. So it sounds like...
I kind of assumed that you would already be all over it, is why I was like, this one's probably a Schultzy thing.
It's like, oh, yeah,
so
totally
I
do
was
this.
loosely following, but I didn't get the context. I didn't realize that this was like a mitigation. It seemed there has been several Stride upgrades lately, and I wasn't really clear as to what was going on. But this makes a lot of sense. Like I thought I read somewhere that they had halted, but that's a lot of context that I kind of needed. Though I'm not entirely sure I understood. This is why we need just.
As Schultzy struggles through this, and I
I'm
read
just letting him go.
read the tweet and the stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, that kind of did happen. I'm not sure I technically know enough to really say something useful. And I was thinking, God, it would be easier if Robert just came on and said this,
Just
wouldn't
said
it?
this.
Yeah.
Rama
This is-
hitting us
this
with
is
walls
exact-
of text lately.
This is just too deep degen for me.
This is
We need
this is
like
deep
short,
DeFi
easily digestible news.
This
It's we got some
does every news item have to be like 9 layers of crypto horse shit to figure out what the hell's going on?
Maybe we should have all the news be posted on some platform that's like a maximum of 160 characters.
that would be sensational. I mean, I think these are probably not far off 160.
There would be
characters, to fair.
uproar, and we would have to increase it to 250 characters, and then just unlimited characters truncated.
That's how it goes. So
All right, I got the last two since you guys are struggling with these two. All right.
I
Second
just
to last.
opened up Twitter for that, and now I've seen the Telstra live earnings call.
Why?
Very distracted.
okay,
Now I'm
alright.
just interested. Are they making money? Are they not making money?
For what?
I'm
Who?
guessing they're making money. Are they making enough money is the question. Developers
Wow.
rejoice as plebs. Geez, tough language on the Gaming Notes podcast. As plebs fail to understand how to get around some of the toughest geo-blocking known to man, meaning only that 33% of all the TIA airdrop was claimed at Celestia. This means that likely everyone who did claim will potentially get 3 times their airdrop, as developers receive substantially more than the plebs. We're holding another conference to celebrate. So long story short is Celestia airdrop only, I think, what was it? Was it 2 weeks it was open or something like that?
It wasn't long for sure.
Yeah, it was a couple of weeks. Like usually it might be upwards of, well, we've had ones that are like 5 or 6 months, right? Where they still allow that. But it looks like only about a third was actually claimed. We were blocked because of the US, and honestly, I didn't even bother. I know we had some in there. I didn't even bother. Like that's how much I don't Fuck you.
Why did you? I didn't look. I just I'm not a developer, so I assumed I did not have any.
I thought it was more than a developer though. It was a couple other things.
Developers, stakers, and relayers were really the
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Stakers of what though?
Atom
Osmo
or Osmo.
and-
Osmo was
well-
the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing for me.
It wasn't very like the translation wasn't very much either. Overall, my Cosmo or Atom and Osmosis, which is like 2000 Atom, you can see that from my validator. I got like 100 TIA and even more Osmo. So
Yeah.
probably wasn't worth it. For
100
Reeling, we
TIA.
did 100. Yeah, for Reeling, we did
What-
get quite a
what's that
bit
worth?
though. They think it's gonna be $1 each. So
$100.
yeah.
There you go. Free night
So
out.
Usurper was right to stay on the couch.
I mean, again, 33% or I don't run down the street. So it wasn't that. It was just like I don't know. I figured I actually had more time, and then I kind of lost interest in the whole thing. Last news item is
Sounds like life.
yeah. Quasar vaults, are they really dynamic with the reason? So at Quasar, quasar.fi, the recent Osmo price action, which is really a name for drop, blockchain sleuth and extraordinaire Rarma. Holy shit, look at this fucking self-grandizing in here.
He is just giving himself a hand job.
Extraordinary. Anyway, big douche Rama noticed that Quasar's Osmo / USDC A plus vaults, which are meant to be dynamic, had fallen out of range, meaning that around the $235,000 vault was 100% Osmo and 0 USDC. Once notified by a friendly reminder, Quasar vaults rebalanced, selling 35% of the Osmo balance to USDC in 2 swaps, tanking the price. The dynamic vaults are back in range. The new lower bound on the vault is Osmo at 22 cents, which is not too far off. We're still at 23 and a half. So there we go. I just actually took a look at the vaults based on this as well, to see kind of where they are. And yeah, there's like and also there's like, I don't know if it was USDC, if it was the USDC A plus vault or one of the M vaults, but the spike and the pullback and the actual value in those vaults is like pretty dramatic. So I'm not sure what's exactly going on with that, but there you go. So I guess there's a minimum range on there, and it fell out of that range, and you have a vault that has no USDC in it, and something that's supposed to be 65.35, I think is what it was supposed to be.
It seems pretty interesting to me that happened, because my understanding was that Quasar is totally automated, right? Like that's kind of his claim to fame.
Yes, agreed.
And Quasar, I've always been like a pretty big fan of, because the way that Osmosis payouts work on an epoch basis for U.S. residents, like that's a taxable event every day, right? For maybe not a lot of money. However, if you use the vaults, then it kind of like just rolls it all in, and then once you pull it out, you actually get it, right? I've always been a big proponent of that, and seeing that there was, in my mind, such a big discrepancy in expected behavior versus actual behavior.
The phrase you're looking for is "fuck up."
Fuck up. Thank you. I was trying to be British a bit there, and so you called me out on it.
This is crypto. This is why British people love crypto. It's the one place we don't have to do the normal social glue stuff, because it's all bullshit. You don't have to be polite. It's garbage. People are degens. They're happy if you call them a degen. It's great. Everything's on fire. This is fine. Anyway.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's a red flag for me, and it makes me really curious.
How far has Osmo fallen in the last 2 months? It must be
pretty owned lately.
It's fucking brutal.
It's interesting because, I mean, like Osmo is meant to be the flagship of AMMs in the Cosmos, but I think it feels like it's starting to like wane a little bit. IMO.
I mean, it is.
Well, there's also like, what's the primary use case for Osmo is getting liquidity into the Cosmos ecosystem to take it where?
Yeah, there's got to be projects there to be able to do it, right? Yeah.
There are no fucking projects in the Cosmos at the moment. So Stargaze and Stargaze is so cheap, you only need to bring in like $50.
I guess it's,
and you can play the machines forever. You can complete Time Crisis 2 as many times as you want, $50 on Stargaze.
Yeah, the price has been cut in half since July. maybe August.
I think most of the bigger projects in the Cosmos try to direct traffic to centralized exchanges anyway, which is kind of where the users are. So
Well, I mean, a lot of people like to shit on it, but a lot of chains spinning up and then taking advantage of Osmosis's rewards, that benefited Osmosis's price as well, because they still got that pairing, right? So like chains would spin up, they would go for rewards, it would have a huge APR, and then the team would cash out. Happened time and time again. Osmo benefited from that, without a doubt. And now that there aren't chains constantly doing that, now that the chains that have done that haven't been called out, that means there's no longer that circular dependency of price going up. I mean, it's not just about the lack of liquidity, which is a huge issue, but
now it's like pools and super fluid and stride, and like it's all
more
a circle
shuffling.
stake at the it's just shuffling, right?
It's all more shuffling. Like the last time that Osmo had real like upward momentum was at Chain Winter, which is when every Cosmos chain had upward momentum, and crucially there were a bunch of new Cosmos chains launching all the time, and it's like that. It's just pure inertia, as it turns out, because as soon as it sort of hit the top, it will just you gets to the other side of the coin, isn't it? Basically, just where we've been for some time now.
And these pools actually, I mean, I'm looking at the Quasar pools. Look like I know these the new dynamic ones are probably that hasn't been that long. It's maybe been a month, something like that. I can't even tell you how long ago those launched, because I still have stuff in the Osmo Pro pool when I pulled stuff out of just staking, and I mean, there's still, like, even from a deposit perspective, some of these dynamic pools are pretty low, like they're $350,000 in terms of cap, and they're still 45, 50, 60% hitting those caps. Largest one being the Noble USDC USDT pool, which is right now at 1.6 million, at 16% for stable coins. I've heard that story before, right? Somehow making 16% of stable coins. What was that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a bit worrying. I should get that paper back. Remember that conference I went to, and then I saw that paper, and it was just like, here's how you can track what happens to stable coins and whether they're gonna, go to zero. And it's like, oh, imagine my surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this case, probably not, I guess, because it's USDC, but
yeah. Anyway, that's what's up with that. So I guess back to this vault, the idea that this was supposed to drop this far did not fit into the computer programmer, which was resolved by dumping the price and selling 35% of the Osmo balance to get the USDC amount back up. So
normal everyday behavior.
It's just win after win, baby. Just racking them up.
This is just how it works. So I think that's a pretty good segue, to be fair, into the other thing follow-up we had, which was asked about in the comment section yesterday. God, I'm tired. Last week, which was Usurper's hot takes, or I should say Rhino. It was, I think, a Rhino Twitter account. I'm not sure we can be certain it was Usurper. Over the whole. So the background to this is that Larry, friend of the show, from Mars, CWSDK, whatnot, did this thread about ETH and what was it?
That fucking cowpoo. Yeah. It
was like a DeFi thing. Basically, it was about how simple it was to get your ETH into this DeFi protocol, like from off the top of my head, right? And I read that, and I honestly wasn't sure whether this was very dry humor from Larry and he was taking the piss, and it was kind of like a performative joke about how complicated DeFi is and how much it makes kind of no sense. I kind of genuinely read that and thought, oh, is this Larry making a joke? And then Usurper had replied to this thread taking it as face value, which I think you're right. I think he was actually genuinely trying to explain how
he was definitely trying. He was definitely trying. He took the time to make a diagram with like 75 boxes and 300 lines on it, right? So
right, but that's what I would be doing if I was making a joke. So it's
I
difficult.
don't know.
Isn't it? It's
Yeah, but
difficult.
it actually had like real labels on it. It wasn't like there wasn't like a picture of a donkey and shit on there. Like it was like a real. So real. All right, okay, fair enough. There was a real. It was a real diagram though. And it was like I don't even know how you got to send a tweet. He must. Like, oh, maybe this is like a special thing because it's like 2,000 words in here in this fucking Twitter. So yeah, but he was basically. I think he was walking through. You might have heard of how the ST ETH farm on Neutron, but how exactly do you get in to understand this? We didn't establish a theoretical background on how ST ETH works on Neutron, and then it keeps going on and on and on. It was this giant diagram of like all this shit to get into this ST ETH thing. And he had like 6 URLs. Here's the tools you need to do it. Thanks for tuning into my lecture.
And the irony is he only needed one image to explain the whole thing.
Yeah. So my only comment was like people say DeFi won't overtake TradFi, right? Because it's so fucking easy to get into these circle stake type of situations. And yeah, anyway. Like, and I think people like the responses and they were like, hey, thanks. And some were like, you know, like at least Aiden from Stride was like, my God, this is complex and things like that. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just it was like if you looked up circle stake in the fucking dictionary, this would be the definition. This tweet.
No, yeah, 100%. But that's why I kind of thought it might be a joke. But I realized, you know,
It cannot
belatedly
be.
that it was not. Of course, it's crypto, so it's completely po-face serious. Of course, it is. But hey, so the other interesting thing, so we talked about in the podcast would have been nearly a month ago actually, about the fact that the regulation for advertising of crypto assets is changing in the UK, and you now have to register with the regulator, the FCA, which would, you know, be bad if Crypto Cito was based in the UK. Bad for him anyway. It cost him a few bob. And what's happened is that Binance and a number of other exchanges, they basically thought they could get around this by essentially nominating a completely legitimate sounding business. Fuck, I didn't write it down. It was called, let me see if I can find the name of the company. It was called literally like We Are Great Guys Limited.
Not a blockchain.com.
Yeah, it was like
Not a blockchain.
it was literally like a third party that they could nominate as their essentially their outsourced marketing agency and be like, what, marketing to people? Oh no, we don't market to people. That's our third party. Okay, right. So
totally TradFi.
I've got it.
Limited.
We engaged a firm authorized by the Financial Conduct Authority, FCA. We engaged FCA authorized firm rebuildingsociety.com Limited, also hereafter known as REBS in all caps,
Well, that's
don't know
awful.
why, to review and approve our UK financial promotions in compliance with the new rules. However, unfortunately, this didn't work. I'm literally reading the email that Binance sent to every UK user. On 10th of October, the FCA imposed additional legally binding requirements on REBS, which meant that REBS was no longer able to approve financial promotions. And with effect from 5 p.m. on the 11th of October 2023, REBS had to withdraw any existing approvals of financial promotions on behalf of any crypto asset business, including Binance. Binance is currently looking for a new FCA authorized approver. So that's all a bunch of stuff where they basically tried to get somebody to just do their laundering for them, and the FCA tapped them on the shoulder and went, no, as of tomorrow, you can no longer do that because we're not fucking 5, lads. Which I'm kind of cheered by, because I think that's really funny. Like they thought that Binance, who are massive, like somebody wouldn't Google what they're up to or be on their mailing list and be like somebody at the FCA wouldn't be on their mailing list and be like, lads, they're trying to do something really stupid to get around this rule. But the thing that I don't understand, right, is that from my understanding, from talking to a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer, but I've talked to a lawyer about this. If you're caught in the regulation, you fill in the paperwork, you hand over £10,000, right? And that's not nothing. To a business like one of ours, that's fucking really bad. To Binance, that's chicken feed,
Yeah,
right?
give a shit.
And then once they've done that, I think it's a 5-year approval, and then they have to re-register each year and pay some fee. I don't know what the fee is. Even if the fee were £10,000, Binance can afford it. They make more than that off UK users. So
But
why the fuck do they care? Why don't they just pay the fee and then it's boys will be boys?
maybe they're not as solvent as they're letting on. I mean, SBF was making a big humdinger about how good they are and how they're going to take down Binance, and then suddenly they were being
10
stormed.
grand, Schultzy.
I know, 10 grand, blah blah blah. But
How many people do they have
Maybe
on the
maybe
payroll?
maybe they're just like resting on their principles. They're like, no, fuck you.
No,
gonna try
we
everything else
insist
in the
on
book.
being able to shill shit coins to underinformed investors.
They're probably worried about like larger, like if you fuck with the rules and you like actually, if you're bold around that, then maybe they get worried about some larger restrictions coming in.
I think it must be because once if you accept the regulation and then you go, okay, cool, we're going to abide by the rules. If you're a business like one of ours, you'd just be like, well, all we want to do is run servers, right? At the end of the day, we're just nerds, whatever. But if you're Binance, they're continually going to be kind of fucking around with that grey line, right?
Yeah.
And I guess they must be worried that they're going to end up paying 10 grand and then getting into trouble later anyway. But
Right.
it is bizarre to me that like the way a lot of this stuff works at the end of the day is as long as you like, you know, make a show of actually like doing the thing, that's how you get leeway. That's how you actually play the game. I mean, I get that, like, who gives a shit about Britain? I do get that. Like, it's a fucking tiny island in the Atlantic Ocean, and Binance is an offshore entity. So there's a very big reason for them to just say, go fuck yourselves, just right there. Even if it was the whole of Europe, they could go fuck yourselves. But by the same point, you know, at some point, they're going to have to accept some kind of regulation from somewhere, probably. So why not like experiment with it while the stakes are low, while it's very early doors, while they can influence the regulation, and while it's cheap?
I wonder what
Presumably
Kraken
the
did.
whole fucking song and dance cost them more than 10 grand anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, they must have some sort of reason for it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, maybe so the only thing I can think is that the lawyer I spoke to, obviously, like, you know, I asked about what hypothetical costs are for a small business, and they gave me an idea. There was some talk about how it could in future be a percentage, I think, of income earned in that area in this territory. And that could be a reason why they are like, go fuck yourself. Because if it was 1% of their earnings in the UK, then that would be a lot of money. That wouldn't just be £10,000, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's because that kind of shit wouldn't, you know, I'd already tuned out by that point. But maybe there's some additional clause that I've missed in the regulation, that registration fee, that adds up to a lot of money. I don't know.
Or maybe it's just like that they don't want to, you know, if they bend over now, then tomorrow they're just going to come up with another thing and bend over again.
Yeah, but nobody really wants to do that's just like paranoid fantasy. People like look at the City of London. The City of London literally money launders in plain sight for massive organized crime. Like, if you just do the bare minimum, people just forget about you. That's the reality of the real world, right? And even when the actual beneficial solution would be to actually do it properly, I don't know. Like, they're just so it just seems like a paranoid worldview that is completely in flight. Like, it flies in the face of how the existing financial system is regulated, which is a best effort, and even the definition of best effort is quite lazily done. Like, you can get away with bloody murder as long as you fill out your paperwork and pay your fee, is what I can see in TradFi. So why are they so fucking paranoid? That's the question I have, I guess.